How's it going, everybody? Cartha here. Welcome back to the AKG project. And today we've got a little bit of an update, and I again apologize, it's been some time. So I'll jump in and then we'll go through the scripts as usual. So I think I mentioned last time or the time before that I had fixed the camera. I'm actually just going to use the mouse for this because it was easier to do. I've actually completely fixed it now. That's not where the camera is. That's where the camera is. So down here on the yaw, if I were to be moving forward, I fixed it. I'll show you what it was in a minute. But if I were to do pretty much get as close as I could to, hang on, what do I want? I want the we want that one, sort of. But anyway, if I could get that like close to 360, I don't think it worked on 0. But if I could get that to 360, we would have the camera would fling all the way around. It'd be very screwy. And I'll go back to the controller. So I fixed that, so that the camera is completely fixed now. I'm very happy. And I made a little modification to the air dash, which is to just dash in the direction that the character is facing. And you can see that I can adjust it a little bit whilst in the air still. I haven't done any special changes here with dash and whatnot. It's down there. Timer, or just for demonstration's sake. Here, so I can turn. We're gonna fall to our death. Anyway, the other thing that I did, falling to our death, is actually fine because I need to move it all the way over here. I've also, oops, I want that one. Yep, bring him up a little bit. Hit play. Also fixed the target jumping, although in the meanwhile of doing it, I somehow broke the color check for it. Anyway, the only thing that needs adjusting with this is the wall running, because that either goes really slow or really fast. I had a check error, I think, in here, which if I can remember where it was, I will find it. But it was a case of I wasn't able to just continuously jump like that. Especially, so here, so this one, I would normally just jump up and down. I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly, it was to do a check error, and this one occasionally jumping across there would occasionally stuff up. And so now it's actually, properly targeting where we want to go, except that one, because I tried to jump over there. Anyway, so those things have been fixed, and I'm not really going to be doing any new coding for today. Just want to get slightly back into the swing of things, and we should be good from there on. Anyway, the other thing we've done is if I select the tutorial level and go down to our jump creator, so all these aren't needed. If I turn this one on, you're going to see a whole bunch of red circles everywhere, but if I click off of this, I have to do it over here, they all disappear. So I've made myself a prefab, which is this. I wasn't sure if that was going to work. So it's just a cube with what I've called a height ring, but a cylinder with a transparent texture on it. And that is just allows making these jump things easier. So if I go back into the jump creator, if I open this up too, you'll see that if I click anywhere, we just create a whole bunch of jump targets, and I can also use the normal Control Z, Y to undo these. Now that is done with an editor script, which needs to be in an editor folder if this is brand new. So we're going to go through things step by step, so we'll go through that last, because I'm weird like that. And I'll just show you all the updates that we've done. Tap. I figured I'd switch it like that. So I've got rid of the player input. Well, I still have it, as you can see here. Don't open it. moved everything over to a plain controller because I'm changing how this script is going to work, or is working a little bit. So I've done this by adding in a new enum called state, which just keeps track of which state the character is in, either being grounded, in the air, or wall running for the moment. And this will allow me to actually add things in a lot easier. So if we jump down to about 200, this is in the update. So I've still got some of the things that are required for in update that happen every frame. Doesn't matter which state we're in. We always get the state first, which is just doing the basic ground check, a new wall running check, otherwise we're in the air. So wall running is so long as we're holding the right trigger, and we can run, which is done by self triggers with collisions and stuff. And then each state also has its own little runtime update, except for in the air, which we don't really need anything else to be done for the moment, so that stays the same. And some of the weirdness of this is target speed had to be changed depending on what state we're in. So some of them, like this one, returns a float, whereas others just adjust the air move speed. And in air, or actually air, I lied. It also has an update. I was looking at the front. Never mind. And they're mostly the same. If we just go through them, ground update just has all the, it's mainly just for inputs. Except in the air, not so much, except for that one. And wall run update is literally just checking that it's still wall running, which again, we had before. And down at 600, I added a little check for the wall jump, targeted jumping, which is, if we just jump back, whoopsies, I may have pushed the wrong button. Hop up is whilst you are on trying to target either end, they have their own little jump script. I think they all do actually, yeah. Which is just labeling as the end, which just means, which is the other thing we're going to change something today, is that you have to be standing in this cube to jump over there. Otherwise, you could be standing over here at a distance of 60 away and jump to here, and that's not what I want. So added that little safekeeping in there. So that was that one. And air dashing, yeah, I just changed it so it only adjusts the forward or the Z in movement speeds, opposed to doing all the other funky stuff with the trying to get the direction of the stick in the camera, which I did try to do for a little while, and then I kind of gave up, I'll be honest. So camera wise, it was this function right here that was screwing us up with all the shaking back. I will see if I can quickly show you the craziness that was happening. Let's see. Now I actually need keyboard and mouse because that's the only thing I can really do it with. And if I just get the camera up, again, usually for whatever reason, doesn't work on 0. I know not why. It doesn't make any sense to me. There we go, that thing. That's what happens. I got it at least. Took a while for me to work out what that was too, but yeah. The little function there that I had before I changed everything to the quaternion instead of vector 3s for the rotation. So that's that. The last thing we have, got a little jump point script. The needed mono over heavy script, well, comes from that. Our visual detector, which just allows us to control all of the targeted jumping locations. So this script, as it being an editor script, has to come from the editor, which we have to add using editor up here. Make sure it uses this. Oh, well, that's the type that it's of. So if I were to change this here to say player controller, I won't do it because that might break stuff. It changes. No, we gotta do the fancy switch. I keep forgetting. It adjusts. This isn't the player script, but it adjusts this particular component on all scripts. So if I were to add another one of these prefabs, which I just have as click off of that, this one, it's this script here. So I haven't done anything with this yet. You can, well, I'm not going to either, but you can change how this looks. You can give it styles, different everything. You can, pretty much anything you can think of, you could probably do with that. People have even made games in these things, just putting that out there. Anyway, back into there. So we have a on enable, on scene GUI, and on disable. So enable and disable are just changing all of the height rings to be visible and not visible, or active and inactive. Not active, I suppose, is the better way to say that. Then while we're in the scene, we're getting an event, cast array, or just for the mouse position. I've got this bit of code here from Sebastian Legge, which I might link that in the description if I can find it, or I'll just link his channel. He did something a little bit similar. Well, not exactly, but he used this. Anyway, getting off track. So this is just getting the position of the mouse, and I use a set height here to place the things at the right height. Can go back and change them. Oh, I did the other switch. Oh well. So I can still come back here and adjust these manually. If I click up here, it'll change the height of that too. But they'll just place it whatever height you put them at initially. It's a fancy switch back. And then here, this is the bulk of it. So we check our event type to be a mouse down, so we don't want to be constantly placing them. We also check if it's the 0 mouse, and we want no modifiers. So that is just so if I were to, so I can place, but I can now hold Alt. That's not Alt, that's Windows. Hold Alt to do that. Otherwise, as soon as I click, it would place one right there. So that's what the no modifiers does. And switch back. So yeah. So depending on your needs, that might not be required. You can also change that to a specific one. So if you need it to be Shift or Alt, we'll leave it at none, which I'll just undo that. And then we have the undo class, which there's a couple of lines in here. The way that I have this set up, because it's creating an object and everything, it's a little bit more complicated than normal. So we give it a group name. This group index retrieves that name, the ID of this name here. You don't need to specify anything here, it just gets the current one. And then we have record object, which I'm recording the current object that this is coming from. So that's this script, so it's getting a list of these. And then we create our object. We create another undo. The names here don't matter because it just takes this one here. All the names you could place, I could place anything in here and you'll never see that. So yes, add object into the list as well. We not 100% sure. Probably not the best person to be explaining this either. I'll be being honest. But we register created object, which I suppose, as the name suggests, it just keeps a track of the object that we've created. And then we close the undo, so grouping all this together. And then just this line of code, very necessary if you're changing anything. No, we're just gonna switch. Anything in the inspector. If you don't use that it doesn't save. And that was half my problem for a lot of that was just a lot of trouble for me. I forget that this is required a lot of the time. So if you're making editor scripts, special things in the inspector, that line is required. So it's just editor utility, set dirty, and the object, which is usually what you set your target to be up here. And I also forgot to mention that. So yeah, that's all good. So it's making a reference to your object that you're editing, essentially. And then at the very end, I don't even remember what this does. I'll be honest. If I go type layout, again, I think I got this from Sebastian as well. Maybe. I don't know. I don't remember what that does. My bad. I forgot. Anyway, once again, that should be in the description. The either specific video that I got that from, or his channel. I'll probably do both. Anyway, so that is pretty much that. And but yeah, so do heaps of fancy stuff. I've just made this so it's easier for me to. Oh, there's an extra one there. No, it's not. That's the one on the wall, which I already have at a different height. I could have just shown that off. Don't do that. Anyway, so I've also made this so you can't deselect this as well. So you do that over here. I could probably change that to having it, control click, which I might do, maybe. Anyway, this was just for me, so it makes things, just made this easier for me. And I don't think going into here and deleting stuff works. If we were delete that one, it's not going to update in here, so we don't do that. It's more or less a place and check as you go sort of thing. I have an error because that was trying to find something that I got rid of. That's fine. So I can actually get rid of all these jump targets now. I just kept them for my sake to demonstrate that. So these still work. I should just show you as well. Oh, also, while I'm holding the button, I can cancel the teleport as well, which I just linked up to being the X on the controller, and I think it's still Shift. Yeah, Shift on the keyboard at the moment. Might just go quickly check that, because that is on the ground. Inputs. Might be in inputs. Possibly. Left trigger. Somewhere down here. Maybe. Teleport visual, yeah. So, get your teleport. So while this is true, is this where it is? That's not where it is. No, I was right. It was this check here. So, you go through first while it's being held down. It sets it to true. In here, you're checking to see whether or not it has been. The cancel button has been released, which I'll probably change or set up differently later on. And just turns off the cube as well. Stops teleporting, otherwise it just keeps doing the distance check to make it sure it's in the right spot. And I had to do it this way, because if I did that in here, I probably could have put that in here. No. The problem was, I'm checking that this is off. So as soon as you let go, you would still teleport. So things being weird. Anyway, Horrible explained that. We go do the testing. Yeah, because I tried the sprint, which was the problem. So this still works, even though these are the same ones as before. Oh, I failed the jumping. But anyway, that is all for today. A little bit of an explanation episode. Although, the one thing I did want to quickly adjust was these here. So, going to be removing the box collider. I wanted to change the cube to a sphere. Then we just need to add a sphere collider. And the reason I'm changing this one It's because it will change all of these ones too. And I'm just wanting to adjust. Let's see how big this goes. This is what I wanted to change. The radius of that. So it's a 0.1. Make it a 1. We'll just see if any of these change. There we go. That's exactly what I wanted. I just want to make these, if I focus on it, make those a bit bigger. I think I want that a little bigger than that. How's that? Well, if I could see it. If I select the right one. Yeah, it might be a bit better. Just so you're not having to be right on the spot. And if we just jump. Ooh, that's not triggered as well. That was the other thing. I don't know if that'll work. No, they're supposed to be triggered. Never mind, because I made them prefabs. That's why. Jump. So jumping to and from these, I can be right over here. Please grab the right one. There we go. But to jump over here, so I'm jumping. So I'm only going to jump directly upwards. If we go stand roughly on this and jump, we jump over there. Anyway, that's all for today. For real this time. I hope a lot of that made sense to you guys. Otherwise, leave me a comment and I will try to either better explain it or I can make a separate video, hopefully to explain it more. And this has gone on for a little longer than I would have liked, but that's fine. Anyway, that's all for today. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you did, please feel free to stick around, see some more. And I shall see you guys next time. Hopefully, will be a lot sooner than the last gap. Anyway, until then, bye.